This unique annual outdoor exhibition features artworks exploring history, culture, remembrance and love amongst the gardens and graves of the historic Rookwood Cemetery. Hidden 2018 Rookwood Sculpture Walk. Aerial view of a cemetery set within grassy parklands. Rows of graves surround a central pavilion. A wash of golden light. Ludwig Mulsek, Spira Mirabilis. A white spiralling sculpture in the shape of a giant nautilus shell resting amidst green lawn encircled by trees. Circling around the open work form, which rests at an angle on a low stand, the mathematically regular angles and lines of the intersecting framework can be seen. White, painted plywood that curves to follow the shape of the shell. Seen from above, looking through the outer struts to the inner circles of the serial grid within grid, curve within curve, becoming smaller as the form spirals in towards the centre. Another view shows the vertical struts curving inwards from the outer edge and coming together in the centre of the spiral. Moving away, a view of the white shell shape, green grass seen through the gaps in the framework. Close up to an inner view, entering the open end of the shell with pale sky and treetops seen through the gaps in the framework. Looking down through the top, then pulling away rapidly so that the openwork nautilus shell is seen from a distance, resting in the middle of the lawn like the skeleton of an enormous nautilus. A wash of golden light. Barak Zelig, hidden from us. A stainless steel ladder rises out of the grass and stretches towards the sky. As it curves upwards from a broad base, it narrows at the top. Closer up, each silver rung is seen stacked on top of the next like a series of steps, with gaps cut out in between. Each one is slightly narrower than the one below, creating a sense of perspective, as if the curving stairs are climbing higher and higher out of sight. They tower upward towards the blue sky and clouds above. The two-dimensional staircase winds sinuously up to a tapered point against the sky, the gap between each step revealing the view beyond. Moving around to the side of the sculpture, the strip of gleaming steel it is made from is just a few centimetres thick. The jagged edge formed by the steps curves through the air like a blade. The tops of trees and pink roses opening in garden beds can be seen behind. A wash of golden light. Hobart Hughes Spirit Headstone. 3 ceramic headstones standing side by side. 2 shaped like human heads. 1 with a group of trees in relief, teacups turned upside down in the grass. A wash of gold light. Julianne Smallwood, Sleeping with the Fishes. A series of ceramic fish mounted on short poles swims through space at varying heights, similar to the height of the various gravestones they wind through. Each fish is glazed white, with a metallic blue-grey head and tail and 1 round eye on each side. Close up, each fish has its own irregularities, cracks and bubbles in the glaze, streaks and mottled colouring. They swim like a shoal through the air amidst the old stone graves. All the fish swim in the same direction. A wash of golden light. Will Cole's Untitled, A Gift from England. A white rectangular stone like a block of marble with a carved folded towel resting on top. The words Variola Major engraved into its surface. A wash of golden light. Olivia Hamilton, What Lies Buried, What Grows. A garden bed with ceramic vases, domed ceramic objects and broken shards of pottery planted in the dark earth amongst tufts of grass. The tall vases are glazed a dark matte grey and have lines of text inscribed around their cylindrical shapes that look handwritten. Green-leafed plants flop out of the top of them. The domed objects are lowered to the earth with shinier black and grey glazes and nestle together. Curved, broken fragments of blue, white and black vessels lie scattered across the earth, which looks freshly turned. Close up and near to the ground, a few words can be read in the winding sentences: river, my body, familiar, seasons, this place, distant land. Down at ground level, the sunlight glints on the black glazed objects and the tiny plants poke out of the bare earth. The pieces of broken cups and bowls lie wedged in the earth. The broad trunk of a tree can be seen across the lawn a short distance away. A wash of golden light. Elizabeth West, Portal. Floating beneath trees, 9 white cylindrical objects form a virtual tunnel in the air. Bright light shines through an opening in the wall beyond. A wash of golden light. Miho Watanabe, awareness of betweenness, Katami, once a possession of deceased. 2 long parallel rows of perspex sheets, each one erected on 4 low poles which stick out of the grass at 15 to 30 centimetres off the ground. They are angled as if to catch the sun, and each one has a greenish tinge and muted coloured image or design just visible on its surface. They are arranged in neat, even rows alongside low stone graves with similarly angled headstones, some with inscriptions that begin with the words, "In loving memory of." At a distance, more than 20 of the perspex sheets can be seen stretching away towards the trees in the distance. They resemble faded photographs or drawings exposed to the elements. Closer up, each one has its own particular image, blurry and hard to make out with the reflections of the pale sunlight on the surfaces. Flowers, a whisk or brush, an item of clothing perhaps can be made out. Scattered beneath the perspex plates on the grass are white flower-shaped objects. Moving along the rows, the shadows of the trees and reflected light play across the surface of each momentarily, mirroring the passing of the weather and the subtle changes in the environment. The aged, lichen-covered headstones stand behind them. A wash of golden light. Lee Bethel, The Shadow. A series of square windows seen from inside. Daylight breaks through elaborate white paper cutouts that fill each window, lacy patterns of leaves and vines entwined with looping script. Words read, "If it were possible, for 1 short hour, to see the souls we love." A wash of golden light. Tal Mor Sine, Refuge. A wooden structure made from upright poles leaning against each other at the top and spread apart at the base, forming a tent-like framework. Horizontal poles are lashed to it to form a rack. On this rack hang row upon row of orange and yellow rectangular tablets of different sizes, overlapping each other like thatching or tiles on a roof. Each wooden tablet is tied to the cross poles and close up bears a message in black. Each one says, "Take me home," in black ink, as if handwritten on the painted surface. The slats of painted wood in warm hues of orange and yellow are stained and marked, exposed to the outdoors. They look made by hand with the rough-cut edges of the wood visible, loosely tied to the makeshift structure. The unpainted backs of the tiles seem to have circular diagrams and perhaps some text on them. A wash of golden light. Sydney Art Exchange, 10 by 10, a field of remembrance. A series of upright black steel posts standing in rows amongst the graves, each with a reflective tag dangling from it, blowing in the breeze. As they flip around in the wind, they flash their yellow and then their silver sides, marked with an X. A wash of golden light. Adam Galea, Weight of Faith. A sculpture of a kneeling human form placed on the floor of an open red brick pavilion with arched windows open to the air. The figure kneels on the base, with forehead touching the ground, cradled between the hands, and the soles of the feet facing upwards. Their back forms a flat table-like surface on which rests a complex architectural form with towers and turrets, like a cathedral or temple. The human figure bears the weight of this across their back, with head bowed and back straight. The two hands are wrapped around the figure's head. Behind it are the arched doorways and round windows of the outdoor pavilion, open to the elements. A wash of golden light. Anne Levitch, on hold. Poking out of a mound of freshly turned earth, an enormous thumb and forefinger are holding a huge round black gemstone. The stone is facet cut, like a precious stone to be set in a ring, and held at an angle by the thumb and finger, with one edge resting on the bed of earth. It is matte black with a dull shine, but no light passing through it. The giant-sized digits are deep brown, a rusted steel, stained and corroded, in contrast to the smooth, unblemished surface of the gem. The shadows of trees are reflected on the surface of the stone, which has a solid, opaque appearance and is about 1 metre in diameter. The dark, tumbled earth gives the impression that the hand has just emerged from underground, bearing the stone. Behind it, stone crosses, urns and a winged angel stand atop the monuments of nearby graves. A wash of golden light. Rose Hawker, a memorial to the monument. Low down on the ground, a collection of formal bronze plinths and columns are scattered across a path between graves. They are in miniature and out of order here, blocking the way. Seen as if crawling through the grass, the tiny monuments loom large, with the real monuments on the graves in the background seeming out of proportion. The burnished bronze of their precise angles gives them a solid, permanent appearance, in contrast with the weathered quality of the real stone monuments. A wash of golden light. Kenneth Lambert, Apparition. A group of metal poles standing upright, seen from below, pointing towards the sky, a palm tree in the background. The poles are higher than human height and have a steel blue-purple tinge that shifts and alters in the daylight. Moving around them, the poles are seen from various angles, revealing their arrangement in neat rows. Depending on the position of the viewer in relation to them, they are viewed separately or overlapping each other in the line of sight, so that visual illusions and distortions occur that cause the poles to create patterns, blurring and becoming more distinct again as one shifts in the open space around them. Standing in the grass, surrounded by the tall columns, stone monuments and decorative plinths that mark the graves, the poles create an ever-shifting screen through which to view the surrounds of the cemetery. A wash of golden light. Hidden, a Rookwood Cemetery sculpture walk, 2018. Curator, Cass Laurie. Judges, Sophia Kuyumjan and Megan Robson. Producer, Rookwood General Cemetery. Video production, Neeram Brothers Productions. Director and editor, Dieter Neeram. Audio description, Insightful. Voiceover, Imogen Young. Location, Rookwood Cemetery, Sydney, Australia. Featured artists, Ludwig Mulsek, Barak Zelig, Hobart Hughes, Julianne Smallwood, Will Coles, Olivia Hamilton, Elizabeth West, Miho Watanabe, Lee Bethel, Tal Morsine, Sydney Art Exchange, Adam Galea, Anne Levitch, Rose Hawker and Kenneth Lambert.